I got the dirty look from Jason. Okay. Town of St. John, Board of Zoning Appeals, February 22nd, 2021. Call to order. We'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. Or that, you get them out of order here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we can do a roll call, please.
There we go. John Kennedy,
Here.
Drago Popovich, Brendan Sheeran,
Here.
Nancy Woland,
Here.
Mark LaRue,
Here.
Attorney Adam Decker,
Present.
Councilman Paul Pansick.
Okay, thank you. Election of officers, can we do that after we do the first? Okay, let's take this out of order. All right, so approval of minutes. I don't recall seeing minutes recently. Have we gotten minutes?
We have gotten minutes. Margaret actually sent them out. We had July 20th and September
Geez,
21st.
Okay, I've read those already. All right. So we can vote on approval of those minutes. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a second.
Second. So that was
First one.
July 20th, 2020 and September 21st, 2020.
Can we do them together at the same time?
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
you
you.
can do.
All right. New business. Pardon me.
You got to vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You got a motion in a second.
We've been out of practice. We've not seen, been here for a little while. Can we have a roll call for vote, please? For approval of minutes.
John Kennedy,
Yes?
Brendan Sheeran,
Yes.
Nancy Woland,
Yes.
and Mark LaRue.
Yes. Okay. Next on the agenda is new business. 20,
You don't want to do the
what, the election officers?
rolls? Yeah.
No, we're gonna do that after
Oh,
these
we're going to do
folks.
that after?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it okay with you?
I just want to get this over with so you're president again.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, we already know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, we don't want to bore these people with our things here. Anyway, new business, 2021-01, Jennifer Buxar, am I saying that correctly? At 10135 East Earl Drive, petitioner seeking a special exception per zoning ordinance 24-373, Article 2, Section 24 to 45, Section of Use, tobacco shops, retail sales, zoned industrial within the 231 overlay. You see her at the stand? If you please identify yourself and again, give your address and,
Hi, I'm Jennifer Buxer. Do you want my home address or where I'm going to the business?
you can do business, I guess, right?
Okay. We're seeking a special exemption at the 10135 Earl Drive property in St. John, Indiana.
Could you tell us a little about what you got going on here?
Well, we are Tobacco Island. We are a chain that's been open for about 3 years now. We have 2 other locations, one in Broadway, in the new section in Crown Point. We have one in the overlay district right there on 3041. If you've seen the new sunset painted building, it's been up for about a year, where the NutriShop used to be.
Okay.
That's ours as well. And now we're looking, because as you know, population's expanding south, so we're looking southern and well, and spotted a little property at 10135 Earl Drive and would like to make that our newest location.
Okay. We have just remind me where exactly this is at. Sir, did you have a Google Maps view of this or something?
We do.
Where J&M Golf used to be.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
that's
for
what I
the-
thought, but
Yeah, it's in the K&M building.
I had
front of
Arby's
Fry.
in my brain for some reason. I read something about Arby's, so I'm thinking it's over there by the new Arby's. So we got a lot of new things going on here.
Yeah, everybody's been asking me where it is, and I'm like, you know where the transmission
Okay.
place is? The front half.
Okay. All right. Something else. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about what other than just getting the exceptions for the tobacco?
I guess what would you like to know? I guess is a better question. I mean,
I guess I'll
kind
put it to the board. Are there any questions
yeah, I'm kind of an
for
open
Jennifer?
book, so. I mean, we're a retailer. We've never had any violations on our tobacco license. We take security, sales, everything at the highest. We put everything from facial recognition, thermal imaging cameras into all of our stores. We carry upwards of $300,000 to $600,000 worth of inventory in our stores. All of our stores have high-end humidors ranging from 5 by 15. The one in Cherville is going to be 21 by 12 foot, so we'll have plenty of room because we've done some research.
So you'll have basically like a cigar room or something like that in there too?
Yes, we have a walk-in, yeah, in all of our stores. We have,
I can see the couches here.
yeah, that's my Cherville. The St. John location is going to look very similar to what I want to do in St. John, just obviously a little different, maybe color scheme. But we have epoxied floors that get laid down. All of our fixtures are handmade by a custom guy and brought in and dropped off. We create kind of a community, kind of, friendly atmosphere. We don't use slat walls or any things you might usually associate to this type of business. We're not like that.
Okay.
We have a Vera ID register system that scans IDs. It goes through a national and a state database to make sure that we can curb any kind of problems before they arise.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, there they are. That is actually, that's one of my, what is that? That's at my Crown Point store. That was our first store. That one kind of came to us as it was. We're actually, once we're done, obviously, if we get granted the special exemption, we plan to remodel that to look like the other two. What is? That's our webpage. That's a webpage. That's our website. That's actually our saying is kiss your ash goodbye. It's kind of our
Jason.
slogan. Yeah, that's a different store. That's Crown Point. Probably want to look up Cherville if you want to see the Google images. We do have a 3D view tour. You guys could walk through the store if he wants to do it, where you could have a generalized look.
Don't you have a seat down?
There you go.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the similarity that the store is going to look like. Some very similar to this, except it's going to be a little more black than gray with a bigger humidor. Maybe some different couches. Not sure yet. I haven't gone furniture shopping. Yeah, we utilize splat screens. Sometimes we'll have game playing or movies or whatever people want to sit
Can I
in.
just get 1 second? Do you have paperwork over there for Drago?
There's copies up here.
So he's on the same page as
No worries,
everybody else.
sir.
Okay.
What you're looking at there is Huga Tobacco. To the right of it's the CBD area. All of our products are domestic and local from local sources and farms within the tri-state area.
Sorry, what was and you said what was in there?
That case right there that we're looking at, that's our CBD area.
Oh, okay.
All of our, like I said, all of our products are domestic and tri-state area based.
Okay.
So we don't deal with wholesale. We go manufacturer direct. We have great relationships with our suppliers. We also have a store in Bloomington, Illinois, and we just don't, this is be our third Indiana one. We also own a wholesale in Orland, so we deal with everything. I'm the one that does all this, so I deal with the product before it comes in. We kind of believe at our store, if I'm not willing to taste it myself, it doesn't go on my shelf.
Gotcha. Okay.
I make her smoke the cigars.
Any questions from the board?
I'll have some, but I'll wait till after the public hearing.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this is Adam Decker.
Yes, sir.
So this is a public hearing, and just kind of based on the rules and regulations of the Board of Zoning Appeals, You know, the order of items would include any staff reports. I don't know if there are any staff reports for this matter. And then, of course, as part of the public hearing, you would recognize anybody who's in attendance. That may not be the case tonight. I'm not there, so I can't tell.
Okay.
But yes, that would be there is
Next
a
order of
public hearing.
business. Okay. My apologies. Okay. You going to have a seat, Jennifer? And we'll open up the floor to any public comment. Are you with? All part of the same team? Okay. That's why I thought I saw the tobacco, so I figured we were all the same thing.
This is my moral support.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any remonstration or anything that came in, Sergio, regarding this?
We have
Nothing?
not received anything.
Okay. So I guess we can close the public comment section. Then I'll bring it to the board here, I guess, and ask if anyone has any questions and Jennifer, you want to step back up to the podium, please?
And maybe this is a question for Sergio and Adam. This is going to be a lease facility. You're going to lease this
Yes.
space. So a special exemption, a recommendation of the council. This is just for this section, part of the building, Adam? This doesn't go with the whole building, correct?
Yeah, it's just the 2,060 square foot that's in the front.
Should we make clarification on that, or is the address enough? Because I don't know what the square footage inside that address of 10135, is that just the 2,600?
No, it's actually K&M transmission, the whole building is. So I guess that initially when it was built was supposed to be their show. It was the golf store before.
Yeah,
So they were leasing, since the golf store bought their own, the old Hallmark, I believe, they bought, and they moved. They've had that lease for about 8 months, and my realtor brought it to my attention. So I want to say the building's somewhere around 10,000, something like that. I mean, they've got huge bays back there.
yeah, I just want to make sure whatever the board decides here, a recommendation of the council, it's just specific to this unit,
building?
portion of the building, and not for the whole building.
Yes, Mr. Kennedy, this is Adam Decker. You certainly may do that to specify either by square footage and/or the address of the part of the building that will be, the consideration tonight.
And then what happens if it's currently 2,100 square feet and they want to add on, would they have to come back?
Yes, in my opinion, if they expanded beyond what's being applied for as per their application, they would require additional approval from the town.
Okay. Couple other questions. This building, I would imagine, the special exemption would allow you to run a tobacco store in this area, but this is in our overlay district. I'm also on the plan commission. I serve both on the plan and this BZA. Since it is in our overlay district, we have some guideline standards for architectural.
Sure.
Do you have any plans to make any modifications or
The building
to the
itself.
building?
No, we're going to leave everything as is, as K&M has it. I mean, if you'd like me to add some landscape or something, I don't have a problem doing that. I like
Signage?
Signage will go on the building. We weren't sure if it was going to be considered a multiple tenant building or if we were singular there. So I just basically needed to know what size sign I would be allowed, and we would submit that without an issue.
I would just like to make sure that, depending on the outcome, whatever standards we have set for the overlay district, whether this is recommended to the council, that the standards stay in place for that facility, because it's probably an existing non-conforming use now. I think the overlay standards came in after the fact. I just want to make sure that the exterior of the building meets our current overlay standards from a plan commission type of scenario. So I don't know how we word that.
This was built before those have been upgraded, so if we're gonna change tenants, we should make sure that whatever.
The building
within
code
reason.
standard, yeah, the building code
Reason.
standards stay in place for the overlay district, that if any modification to the exterior happens, I would like it to make sure it stays with the overlay district, what those standards are.
What were the plans for the exterior?
Nothing,
Nothing.
just a sign.
I just want to make sure that, I don't know how this, a special exemption, well, I know how a special exemption works, a recommendation to the town council, but then does that allow them to alter the exterior now that they're the owners or tenants of that building? I don't know what the agreement is between her or the facility and the landowner for the exterior of that building.
Right.
So-
Yeah, that's my question too. Like, I don't know if we're looking at,
Well, that's the sheriff's facility there.
right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
That's just only work we're doing is interior wise. Exterior, I submitted pictures, there should be pictures of the,
Signage.
yeah, of the current exterior of the building, right, as it
Yeah.
stands right now. The only thing we're doing is putting up a sign where the golf
I
store.
think, aren't we getting ahead of ourselves with this, though, from the standpoint, this is just, they get past this portion, they go to town council. If they had any other exceptions for signage, et cetera, they would come back to us for that as well, correct?
I just want to make sure.
Is that correct, Sergio?
Correct, that is correct.
Okay. It's
Yeah.
outside of our current, regs.
Regulations and overlay, correct.
Okay.
Two more things.
Sure.
And then, Crown Point store, go up and down Broadway. You have those LED lights.
Not going up, never again,
I understand.
never
We are
again.
currently, in the plan commission, we are currently, I think, Sergio, we're updating our lighting ordinance to restrict that.
Never again.
I just want, I know what you're saying. I just want to make sure we're following, I just want to dot our i's, cross our t's, that why it's acceptable now in the town of St. John, at some future date it won't be, and I just want to hopefully reiterate or make sure we stick to these new standards, even though right now currently legally you don't have to because they're not in our ordinance. So I just want to address that issue as well. So
You'll have my vote to ban them?
I love what you're hearing.
If you
I
pull
just-
up, if you go back to the website where, exterior for our Cherville location is, there's a night photo. K&M has similar lights on the building. They're kind of like those ground spotlights that go up toward the ceiling that you see common landscape lightings. That's what we have in our Cherville. We're leaving that alone. Like I said, goes back to, like you said, outside. We don't have, just go into the photo section. I knew I should have printed more photos. I don't know what they put on it. You know, if you, if you go to the Google listing, it'd be easier to find it. I
My
could
work
zoom
is
it-
in Highland, and there's a car lot right next north of me, and every window has those white, and it just lights up the block. They're all like inside their
Right.
windows, and
I know. Trust me, I know.
so just let me ask their attorney, Adam, or Sergio, how do we put, is this just a contingency we add to the recommendation?
There you go, there's a night photo right there. This is how we light our buildings. There are no lights, it's just landscaping.
I just saw it on the Crown Point one, and that,
Yeah, no. If I could get those down, I absolutely would tear them down.
Okay.
I can't wait for our remodel, because they're the first thing I'm gonna pull out happily.
Mr. Kennedy, yes, so as a condition of the, essentially the recommendation to the town council, the Board of Zoning Appeals may, require a written commitment that they not, utilize the LED lighting. So, and if you wanted to, that's a written commitment is typically something that the applicant would, sign and would put into paper as part of the record. But certainly if you wish to make some type of a vote tonight, whether it's a favorable recommendation or an unfavorable recommendation or no recommendation, you can include that as a reasonable requirement of the applicant.
so Adam, going with what you're telling us regarding the commitment to the LED lights, can we do the same for the exterior of the building? That any exterior improvements would have to, that would come before the plan commission to follow our overlay district?
You may. Now, I would submit that if there were any alterations to the exterior of the building, that would likely require them to come back anyway
Okay,
to the town for some type of a site plan or even development plan review by the Building and Planning as well as by the Plan Commission. If you wanted to include that in the motion, you certainly may.
I don't want to take away your artistic ability to do with your facility, but
I'm good.
we're just trying to make sure this overlay district, this is our heart of our town. And we just want to make sure that any future, at least plan commission, we want to make sure any future changes to this, inside this overlay district is to
Keep it
the highest
classy.
standards.
Keep it classy and high-end. I understand.
Thank you. And then one more thing, you mentioned, you do some ID to keep the problems away. Have you
Yes.
had problems at your other facilities that we need to be?
No, I have, like I said, no violations, nothing outside the normal teenager that tries, but my staff is extremely well-trained to handle it. And usually, like, you can spot them when they're coming in. They're usually extremely nervous and shaking, and they ask you for something, and then all of a sudden they don't have an ID, or maybe they have it, or they can't find it, or they need to run to their car, or they pull out one. And I actually do work closely with the Crown Point cops that shop with me, the excise that, excise agents come in and tell us what to look for. They've explained to us, like, how to check for the fakes. Like, there's a certain way to bend it where the lamination will pop on it, and it's a good way to tell good, now that it's hard to tell. But my system will scan it, and it will tell me, like, the easiest way on an Illinois factors is, I don't know if anybody's ever looked at an Illinois license on the back. If it says RH factor, it's fake. They forget to put a blood type.
Very good.
Indiana, the gold, the secondary gold seal you have on the bottom is the wrong gold. The best way to know a fake is to know your own ID. So I make my staff study theirs.
Very good. Okay. Mr. President, that's all the questions I have at now.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
I don't have any questions.
Is it just strictly the type of business that it is?
Just because of the location of it, it's a special exception for approval. Again, we're just gonna approve, or if we do approve or deny, whatever the case might be, based on the overlay district and where it falls, and that's because it's tobacco, right? Am I missing something else?
No, yeah, currently it's zoned industrial, so this type of retail would be allowed within our industrial classification. But since it's on our US 41 overlay district,
Right.
you need a special exemption.
Right.
So it has to come before us to get approval to be inside this US 41 overlay district. Will we
Right.
make a
And
recommendation?
Mr. Chairman, your motion tonight would be to either make a favorable recommendation, an unfavorable recommendation, or no recommendation.
That's
And
right.
that recommendation goes to the town council, who will have the final say on the matter.
Yes, I may have said that incorrectly. Thank you, Mr. Decker. Okay. Drago, any other questions? No?
I mean, if you guys were curious about the type of retailer we are, we did include a few letters from our landlord, a couple of people on the share bill. Like, during COVID, we donated, I don't even know how much hand sanitizer. We filled half of our store that was curbside with food, and we had the Cherville code enforcement, and we took all of it to food banks to fill them up in both of our locations. And we did this, all of them, because we've just been very lucky and successful. We've only been open 3 years, so kind of look at it as good karma to give back. We do the Tri-Town Safety Village trunk or treat every year as well. We're the only ones there from this type of industry. So we're always involved in community-based things, like we donate to FOPs. This year for Christmas and Thanksgiving, we took the 6 trade wind houses, we took gifts out to all of the disabled adults, on Thanksgiving Day and then on a couple of days before Christmas. So we do a lot of that too.
Okay. Thank you.
So, besides retail, are you an actual smoke shop? Like, do people sit inside and
Smoke?
smoke?
Not cigarettes, because I don't let them.
But if
At all.
you wanted to go in for a cigar, you can
If you
sit in
wanted
your
to come
shop
in, we
and,
do apply for Indiana smoke-free exemption, so if somebody wanted to come in and smoke a cigar, they can, if they will. We do designate, that's why we have the couches and the TVs and whatnot. We also, we're gonna have private humidor lockers in our St. John location that people can rent and keep their secret stashes there, I guess, or if they don't have a humidor at home. Like I said, we have a 21-foot by 12-foot humidor going in, so, we'll have a very large variety there, because it's one of our main product items that people come to us for.
so did you look at any other locations in St. John?
Yeah, we looked at a few, but This business district that you have in the overlay is extremely similar to all the business districts that we are in. You know, the type of retail is the same, Starbucks, restaurants, gyms. You know, our Crown Point location has that F45 on one side and Freshies on the other. You know, Cherville's right there in the parking lot of Walmart. We kind of look for the shopping districts because we are a one-stop shop, so we like to give everybody the convenience of going to one area to shop. Go there, they get their groceries, they get this, they pick up whatever they need from us, and they go home.
Work out, get your pack of cigarettes.
Or whatever, yeah. You would be surprised how many people from a gym I
No,
get.
I'm just being a pain in your, I'm being a pain.
You'd be shocked. We know when their workout's done because they're very loud.
Okay. You can have a seat. Thank you so much. Well, I guess we'll entertain a motion to, I forgot what Mr. Decker said, how he said the.
It's either a favorable.
Favorable, unfavorable,
unfavorable.
thank you. Motion for
no
favorable, unfavorable,
recommendation.
or not at all.
I'll make a motion to make a favorable recommendation.
I have a motion for favorable. Do I have a second?
I will second with, if we can make some comments, if we can put some conditions on there, on your favorable recommendation. One, now, Adam, you said a written letter, that they would have to provide a written letter with their commitment to follow our, Sergio, I don't know how, when we're thinking of passing our updated light
Well, you can make
ordinance.
a recommendation as to what they can and cannot do as far as beyond there. That's where I thought he.
Well, I just want to make sure they're
Mr.
following.
Kennedy, yeah, Mr. Kennedy, so, no, it's not required to be in writing, so there's really two different things. You can impose a condition as part of the approval, that would strictly be as, conditions that would be included in the motion that's being considered. The board can also, or in addition to that, also require a written commitment. Now, again, that's something in writing that's not necessarily required for purposes of the meeting, but a written commitment obviously is in writing. It's typically submitted by the applicant. It becomes part of the record. Whereas if you impose a condition as part of the motion, it would still be in the record based on the meeting minutes that have been submitted. So it would still be part of the requirements for the motion that's going to be considered.
All right, so then I'll go back to Drago. If you can make your motion, favorable motion with the condition of commitment regarding LED lights, accessory LED lights in the windows, and a condition, hopefully any exterior improvements to the building come before the plan commission.
Or expansion.
Or expand, right, for the plan commission regarding the exterior aesthetics of the facility to match our overlay district.
Mr. Kennedy, I also wanted to add, I think there was some discussion on retaining the business to the 2,100 square foot address site that's there.
That's,
And
yeah,
and the
that's-
condition that the,
Stay at that, yeah.
so we got favorable recommendation, I seconded with those three conditions,
I could go.
Got it.
okay?
Okay, so we have a motion and a second.
Good, wait,
What?
I didn't know if Brendan had something to, you could,
No,
okay.
I'll vote when I'm supposed to vote.
Okay, can we roll call for a vote, please?
John Kennedy,
Yes,
Drago Popovich,
Yes.
Brendan Sheeran,
No.
Nancy Woland,
No.
Mark LaRue.
No. So unfortunately, we're not in favor of the recommendation for the putting the smoke shop at this location. From here, Mr. Decker, what's their, I guess, recourse?
Well, so the next step, I would recommend that the board consider a motion for an unfavorable recommendation to the town council.
Okay. Do we make a motion for unfavorable?
Motion for unfavorable recommendation to the town council.
So I have a motion for Mr. Sheeran for unfavorable recommendation. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Ms. Wolin? We give a roll call again, please?
John Kennedy,
no,
Drago Popovich,
No.
Brendan Sheeran,
Yes.
Nancy Woland,
Yes.
Mark LaRue.
Yes. So with that, Mr. Decker, do they have any other recourse with the town council? Mr. Decker?
Yeah, they take it up at their town council.
Adam, you're muted.
I'm sorry, yes, I was on mute. Mr. Chairman, I would also suggest that the board adopt the findings.
Okay,
So I believe.
yeah, I'm sorry,
Mr.
you're right,
Mendoza
you're
may
right.
have-
Sorry about
May
that.
have circulated the findings
Yes.
as part of the consideration.
Yes,
So I
sir.
think that should be reviewed.
Yes,
And then to answer your question, so the vote to send an unfavorable recommendation goes to the town council, and the town council will then consider that, and it would be, it would be heard and considered once again by the town council when that's scheduled for a meeting.
okay, thank you. We'll read into the findings of fact.
Oh, yeah, give that to Kennedy.
You have to read it because you made the,
Yeah, the wills and will nots. So, what do I, give me your pen then. What am I doing here?
we gotta read through and decide what's.
I know, but what, because you're always writing backwards to me. Will be, well, it won't.
Will be detrimental, endanger public health. And then
So,
read through them.
all right.
and just
That the establishment, maintenance, and operation of special exemption will be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare. That the special exemption will be injurious to the use and the enjoyment of the property in the immediate vicinity of the purposes already permitted, nor substantially diminish and repair property value within the neighborhood. That the establishment of the special exemption will impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of the surrounding property for the uses permitted in the district. Adequate measures will be taken to provide ingress and egress so designed as to minimize traffic congestion in the public streets, and that adequate utilities, access road, drainage, and/or necessary facilities will be provided. The adequate measure will, in other respects, conform to the applicable regulations and zoning districts in which it is located, and that the special exemption shall be required to comply with reasonable true limitations on the commencement and duration of special exemption, as well as the holder of rights to the same.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We got a little bit out of order, a little wonky here, so forgive me for, it's been a while since we had a meeting, so forgot the order of this. So with that, we're gonna send up an unfavorable to the town council for establishing your business in this location. Is there anything I'm missing, Mr. Decker?
No, that should conclude the matter.
Okay, all right. Ladies, sorry, but your next steps will be with the town council and their decision. That I get to talk with Sergio. I'm not familiar with their next meeting, again, on their agenda. So that might be till, pardon me?
Thursday?
Yeah, but they, this of next week? This week? Okay.
Wednesday, the 24th.
But their agenda probably already set for that, correct?
It is.
Yeah, so they probably have to talk with Sergio, get on their schedule, on their agenda for the following month.
We'll work with the clerk treasurer's office and the town manager's office to see next steps on the agenda.
Yes, I'm not familiar with what happens next when after you leave our board, so, but, thank,
Sergio tomorrow.
okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. The next order of business, resolution of amending the public notice requirements in the rules and regulations is discussed in November 16th, 2020 BZA meeting. I don't know if we've got minutes on that, or what, we're moving the, what, from 14 to 10 days? I thought we had, where was that at? Oh, here's right here.
Yes, the request
So-
is to amend the rules and regulations to comply with state statute on public notifications with reducing the days from 15 to 10 and publication in one,
One newspaper.
yes, correct.
Okay.
Which is what the state mostly requires throughout the state. We were just a little more stringent.
Correct.
Right. So if there's a separate attachment, I believe, that Attorney Decker put together for us. That describes the change in the notice requirements, which has pretty much been outlined here already, I believe.
I'll just let you know, the State House currently is reviewing a bill that will eliminate the need to put a public notification in the newspaper.
I saw that, yeah. They're Isolated wetlands, too.
So then where does that leave us?
So I know our previous, or our liaison to the town council has always said that he wanted to make it mirror the state. Now, that doesn't mean we have to follow suit, but
Right.
that was his recommendation,
Right.
to follow state regulation. And I believe it came out of Senate committee already with a good majority, but that doesn't mean we have to follow the state rules, but it looks like it will be no publication in the newspaper, only notification on the local unit of government website or platform. So I don't know if we want to defer until that goes through the due diligence, because it would probably occur July 1st of this year, if it does go through the proper process, or,
I think at this point, we've put this off so long, and that it gets to that point where they approve it in July, we can take this up again next year.
yeah, if they put it July, then we could,
Or amend ours at that, after that point in time, can we not? Mr. Decker, any opinion on that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So, Mr. Kennedy's correct. I'm also aware of the proposed legislation that's working its way through the House and the Senate down in Indianapolis. And this is something that was originated last year with conversations with Rick Eberly and Paul Panzik, and as I learned at that time, the current zoning ordinance has the requirement for a minimum of 15 days, notice before a hearing, as well as the publication in 2 separate newspapers, which is a higher standard than what is set forth in the Indiana Code.
Yes.
The Indiana Code only requires 10 days advance notice and publication in 1 newspaper. So if the Board of Zoning Appeals, and I guess the other reason was that petitioners would come before the Board of Zoning Appeals or the Plan Commission, and they might have met the 10-day standard, but they didn't meet the 15-day standard.
Correct.
And invariably, that would be waived as long as it met the 10-day standard. So it was really meant as a matter of trying to be consistent with state law. So having said that, ultimately the changes to the zoning ordinance that will be considered at some point in the future by the Plan Commission and by the Town Council would also have to include this change, because currently the zoning ordinance provides for the 15 days and publication in 2 newspapers. I believe that was adopted by the council in 2017. So really, it's really to your discretion. If you decided to implement this, you could certainly do so. And then for any applicants that might come forward, between now and whenever that, legislation might become effective, if at all. I don't know, there's no guarantee that it's going to be written into law, but you could always revisit it at that point in time as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
just for you guys to understand, I'm in favor of the 1 newspaper. But I'm afraid, just like Adam is saying, that the 15 days we had, they always had for an exemption if it met the 10-day rule. I'm afraid the same thing will happen with the newspaper. If we keep the newspaper in line, but the state law says you don't have to put it in a newspaper, will they be coming back for us for exemptions to say, well, it's on your website, the state doesn't require us to put it in a newspaper? You might get that same exemption or request for waiver for the newspaper issue.
I understand.
So I just don't, while I'm in favor of it, I just, the same theory we're using for the reduction in publication time frame might be the same issue we
Right.
address in the newspaper.
Yeah, I would tend to lean to keep it the 1 and the 10. And if we get to that point where the state has a different requirement, we can take that up at that time, but as Mr. Decker mentioned, we don't know that that's gonna happen exactly. So I think we've been talking about this since November, trying to get a full quorum. We've got the full quorum. Let's see where this goes, and we can always, make changes as needed, to this. I think before we've always had those, I think we had a couple situations where they didn't meet, was it 14 days or 15 days prior? I mean, currently, Sergio, I thought it was 14.
Currently, it's 15 days.
15 days.
Yes.
Well, I had 14 in my head for some reason. And we had a couple petitioners that were like at 13 days. We pushed them through because then they would come back another month and set the things back. I really don't have a problem with that typically with homeowners versus companies that come in here. We want to keep them on the straight and narrow or the very strict guidelines. But with this now being 10 days, I think it's something we can definitely work with, and the petitioner should be able to work with as well. So,
And Sergio, are you comfortable with the time frame, 10
So I was
days?
gonna ask, is that cool for you too? That's something you can work
Absolutely,
with?
no, it's common practice, it's what I've been, my past experiences has been.
Doesn't overload
with it.
you or anything?
No, the 10 days works well, especially with the discussion that would happen at the next agenda item here with regards to filing deadlines, yeah.
Okay.
And it's working days or just 10 days? Is
It's
it
just 10 days.
10 days?
10 calendar days is what I recall.
Did you wanna make a motion there?
Yeah, we're going to need a motion and a second on that. So if someone would like to make a motion and approval of the new resolution number 2021-02-22, resolution amending the rules and regulations of St. John Board Zoning Appeals regarding the issuance of publications of notices and other matters related thereto, going from 15 days appearance of publication in one newspaper, and the other, do I have to read the rest of these things in here, Mr. Decker? Into the,
It should fall all under the resolution number that we're approving.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I mean, so generally speaking, for purposes of the meeting, I think it's not a bad idea to read the resolution into the record.
okay,
And so for purposes of the record, I would recommend that.
okay, very good. And I've seen it before, it's a lot to read here for me now.
I was trying to save you.
Okay, so I'll continue from where I left off. Whereas the Board of Zoning Appeals, Town of St. John, Lake County, Indiana Municipal Corporation, hereinafter this BZA, is a duly appointed deliberative and administrative body of the Town of St. John on land use matters with its jurisdiction and authority set forth Indiana Code 36-7-4-900. ET, I'm not sure what SEQ stands for, but it has determined the need to exist to amend the rules and regulation previously adopted by the BZA on or about April 24, 2017, in accordance with Indiana Code 36-7-4-916. And whereas the town administrative staff has reviewed the existing rules of the BZA and made recommendations to the BZA for replacement, and whereas the BZA has reviewed the existing rules of the BZA as well as the town staff recommendations are amended. And whereas the BZA has determined it's appropriate, advisable, and in its best interest of the residents of the town and for the conduct of business of the BZA to approve certain amendments to the rules of the BZA. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Zoning Appeals, the Town of St. John, Lake County, Indiana, as follows. Section 1, the BZA does hereby find and determine that the following amendments of the rules of the BZA is appropriate, advisable, and is the best interest of the town and for the conduct of the business of the BZA, and is hereby authorized and approved as follows. Article 5, Section 2, entitled Notice Requirements, is hereby amended in its entirety and shall hereafter read as follows. Point 2, Notice Requirements. The applicant or petitioner shall receive notice of public hearing to all interested parties as follows: by publishing legal notice in one newspaper in general circulation having daily publications, with publication to appear at least 10 days before the date fixed for the public hearing. Number 2, by giving personal notice to at least 10 days prior to the appointed time of said hearing to all the property owners within 300 feet of the lot, parcel, or building in question. The foregoing parties shall be deemed interested parties pursuant to Indiana Code 36-7-4-920. Notice shall be in the form of written notice, therefore, of certified mail return receipt request to the last known address of the property owner. The last known address shall be shown by the recent auditor's transfer list in Lake County, Indiana. Number 3, the notice herein required shall be on a form approved by the board. Number 4, in addition to other publication requirements set forth herein, the petitioner or applicant shall post in prominent locations a sign, the style of design which shall be prescribed by the town building and planning department may be changed from time to time, which shall indicate that that the subject property is the subject of a public hearing, the date, time, location of said hearing, and the location where as interested parties may review the petition. The sign aforesaid shall be posted on the subject property for a period of not less than 10 days prior to the public hearing. The petitioner or applicant shall bear the burden of obtaining the required sign from the office to the town building and planning department, and shall, at the time of obtaining said sign, pay the prescribed fee. The town may determine what constitute prominent location and pertains to the subject property. Number 5, at least 5 business days prior to the public hearing, the applicant or petitioner shall present evidence to the building and planning department as to the compliance with the requirement of paragraphs 1 through 4 set forth here above. The evidence shall include, but not necessarily limited to, list of interested parties, affidavits, proofs of publications, receipts of certified letters. The applicant or petitioner shall be required to assume all costs of public notice and notice to the interested parties as set forth above, and also the cost of documents, materials, engineering data required, and other data or materials required by the board. Section 2, the resolution shall take effect and the rules of the BZA shall be amended, set forth above, and be in full force, effect immediately upon its passage, approval of the building, I need something to drink. At the public meeting, the Board Zoning Appeals, the Town of St. John, Lake County, Indiana, on the date set here and after. Whew. Okay. So, I need, from that, my board members, do we have a,
I'll make a motion.
thank you.
To approve Town of St. John, Lake County, Indiana Board of Zoning Appeals Resolution number 2021-02-22.
Thank you, Mr. Popovich. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
And can we please have a roll call?
Yes.
Sergio?
John Kennedy.
Yes.
Drago Popovich.
Yes.
Brendan Sharon.
Yes.
Nancy Woland.
Yes.
And Mark LaRue.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you for that, folks. Let's see, next thing on the agenda is review of scheduled meeting dates and filing dates for consideration in order to help facilitate and review times and anticipated filings. I'm having a hard time talking here. So we've got this, I did see this come through the other day. You sent this out last week or something, right? I remember
Correct,
seeing
yes.
this, and I printed it off for some reason. It's it's on my bulletin board in my office. Did you all get a chance to take a look at this?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my question is, we're not changing the date, the time of the month we're doing this, correct?
Correct. Everything is the same. The only thing we're asking is the applicants and petitions file the applications by the deadline, so that way we
Oh,
have
I
time
see,
to.
okay.
Yep. So we have time to get them out for review and have the board members afford them sufficient time to review the findings of fact and any additional information that come in.
Excellent, okay. Is this something that we have to vote on as well?
I'm not sure it needs a
More of
vote, it's
a-
more of consensus, awareness in case there's any discussion. I mean, if there's
Okay.
other thoughts. Initially, the filing deadlines here would coincide with the action of the previous action or motion of the 15-day requirement. So that gives staff some time, but if if the board feels comfortable with these deadlines, we can advance that. And if Attorney Decker may note that there's some other, statutes that may prohibit this, I'd welcome that opportunity as well.
Okay.
So,
So any comments or suggestions about the dates? Mr. Deckard, have you had a chance to take a look at this?
Yes, I did. Sergio also prepared a similar document for the Plan Commission. And I did give him some comments, just outlined a couple of things in our zoning ordinance about, some things may require a 30-day notice, which specifically for site plans and development plans, but that doesn't really apply to the Board of Zoning Appeals. So, that I have looked at it. I don't have any concerns or objections.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, Sergio, these are, I look at this as more comfortable for you to get all your ducks in a row, I's crossed.
absolutely, and for us to get the information out to the board members, I'll give you an example. If we follow this schedule, we have another special exception being filed, and we've been communicating with them the last few weeks, and their goal is to get everything in by the 24th. Once we receive that, we can start formulating the agenda and get that out hopefully by the weekend. That gives the board members at least 2-3 weeks advantage of reviewing
Appreciate that.
everything. So, yes.
I didn't mean to bug you last week about this. I was like, I hadn't heard anything. Usually Margaret does, and I didn't know that John told me that Margaret has left us.
Yes.
So, just to get an idea and so I can plan it. I was actually going to go out of town for a couple of days, and then when I say, we have a meeting, I guess I'm sticking around, so.
But ideally, this would give you the information earlier, and you want to do site visits and plan
Perfect.
accordingly, so.
Yeah, usually we get the opportunity to drive by these things. I didn't get one on this particular situation, so. So everyone's okay with the,
Yeah, that's good.
okay, fantastic. All right. Now for what you all been waiting for. Election of officers. And it's been a while, so I don't recall the sequence of this, or the, Mr. Kennedy's over there. I can see he's grinning underneath that mask of his.
I'd like to make a motion that it's good as is. Let's keep it going.
I don't think we can do it that way, gentlemen.
I like to speed things up and get to the point.
Because last time I wasn't here to defend myself, so.
I like the motion myself.
Hey, what's the protocol here?
I think that's good enough protocol.
Well,
Nancy,
I'm a little rusty here. I've a couple foul balls here tonight, so.
Nancy, you're secretary. Are you comfortable being secretary again?
I am.
Okay. Did you want,
No, if you'll have me, I am. I'm fine.
okay.
Love to see you in person, Nancy, one of these days.
You know what? I just got my second vaccine.
Oh, congratulations.
Good.
Yeah, as soon as it takes hold here, I'll feel more comfortable.
Sure.
Coming out.
I'm just teasing Nancy, that's all.
He really doesn't want to see you.
No, I do. I miss the face-to-face, but I'm on Zoom calls all day. I would appreciate seeing, it's good to see these faces around. I saw Brendan last week, so, but,
Believe me, I'm anxious to get out of the house.
Yes,
as
it's
well.
the sun was shining today. You should have been outside a little bit today. So, okay.
Yeah.
I guess so. Then what's the protocol? What's the motions here to?
Well,
The same.
I'm
You're
cool
president,
With being a
I'm-
member. I'm cool with member behind my name. So we got Brendan knocked out.
Drago, any interest in moving up the ranks?
Status quo.
Status quo? Okay. All right, so, how do we,
We just,
I guess,
we got a motion for you,
Okay.
president, me,
Okay.
vice, Nancy, secretary. We got a
I have a
second for that.
motion,
We
do I
just
have
got
a second for?
Second it. Congratulations.
and then we got to
Don't think about it, take too long on
roll
that.
call. Roll call.
Would you like to do a roll call, Sergio, please?
Yes. John Kennedy,
Yep.
Drago Popovich,
Yes.
Brendan Sheeran,
Yes.
Nancy Wolin,
Yes.
and Mark LaRue.
Yes. Thank you. I'm not sure that's a,
Do you
I'm
have
gonna
a,
target on my
do you have a
back
bottle of
or
anything
what?
we can open to kind of look
To celebrate
congratulatory?
champagne, right?
Little congratulatory shots?
Yeah, exactly. That's, I think I'm gonna need it. Oh, gosh. So, I guess the next portion, excuse me, Mr. Kennedy, we're still in a meeting here.
Excuse me, Mr. Kennedy.
Never get the chance. That's okay. So there's nobody in the room. Any other public comment or something else you'd like to say, Mr. Kennedy, to put in the record? No? Nancy, anything from you or Mr. Decker?
No, nothing
Nothing.
here.
Okay. At that point, then we will, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Sheeran.
I missed some of what you read in the resolution. I'd like to read it.
Okay, we're going to adjourn the meeting.